When Elon Musk met a struggling delivery driver, no one could have predicted what would happen next. A simple tip turned into a life-altering chain of events that left everyone stunned and inspired. You won't believe how this act of kindness changes everything. The alarm buzzed at 6 a.m., jolting Marcus from his restless sleep. He rolled over, silencing the noise with a groan, and blinked at the water-stained ceiling of his cramped studio apartment. Another day, another grind. For Marcus, life had become a relentless loop of long shifts and worry. His mother's medical bills weighed on him like a boulder, and he often felt he was one step away from being completely overwhelmed. Slipping into his worn delivery uniform, Marcus brewed a quick cup of instant coffee. His phone buzzed with a notification, another stacked route from DeliverPro, the app-based service he'd been working for the past 3 years. Route bonus if you complete these on time, the app cheerily announced. Marcus sighed. Bonuses were rare, and he could use every extra dollar. By 7 a.m., Marcus was weaving through the bustling city streets in his sputtering sedan, its dashboard lit with warning lights he could no longer afford to address. His first stop was a high-rise downtown where a business executive barely acknowledged him as he handed over their breakfast order. The next delivery was to a young mother juggling groceries and a toddler. Each stop brought its own challenges, but Marcus managed to keep his composure, driven by the knowledge that quitting wasn't an option. Around lunchtime, Marcus received an unusual order, a single salad from a restaurant known for its exorbitant prices. The delivery address was a gated estate in the affluent part of town, far removed from the neighborhoods Marcus usually frequented. Fancy, Marcus muttered as he pulled into the estate's driveway. The towering iron gates loomed ahead, flanked by manicured hedges and pristine gardens. He pressed the call button on the intercom, expecting an assistant or housekeeper to answer. Instead, a laid-back voice crackled through. "Come on in, man, just leave it by the front door." The gate swung open and Marcus drove in, feeling slightly out of place. The house, if one could call it that, was more like a modern fortress. Sleek glass walls reflected the sunlight, and a Tesla sat gleaming in the driveway. Marcus parked, grabbed the delivery bag, and walked up to the front door. As he set the bag down, the door opened. Standing there was a man in a simple t-shirt and jeans, looking far less intimidating than the grandeur of the property suggested. Marcus recognized him instantly. "Elon Musk?" Marcus blurted out before he could stop himself. The man grinned. "That's me. Thanks for the delivery. What's your name?" Marcus, he stammered. "Big fan, by the way." "Appreciate it," Elon said, leaning casually against the doorframe. "How's your day going?" Marcus hesitated. Most customers didn't ask him that, and certainly not billionaires. "Busy," he admitted. "But I can't complain, just trying to make ends meet." Elon nodded, his expression shifting slightly. "Tough work, I respect that." For a moment, Marcus debated whether to say more. Talking about his personal struggles to someone like Elon Musk felt absurd, but something about Elon's demeanor was disarming. He found himself mentioning his mother's illness, the mounting bills, and his dream of a better life. Elon listened intently, asking a few thoughtful questions along the way. By the time Marcus finished, he realized he'd been talking for far longer than he intended. "Well, Marcus," Elon said, a thoughtful look in his eyes. "You've got a good head on your shoulders. Keep pushing forward. The world needs more people like you." Marcus thanked him, feeling a strange sense of warmth from the interaction. As he walked back to his car, he glanced at his app to confirm the next delivery. He had no idea that this brief encounter would soon change his life in ways he couldn't imagine. Marcus drove away from Elon Musk's estate with a strange mix of emotions swirling in his chest. Their brief exchange felt more meaningful than any interaction he'd had with a customer in years. There was something about the way Elon had listened, really listened, that made Marcus feel seen. Still, it wasn't the time to dwell on it. He had several more deliveries to complete, and the ticking clock on his app reminded him that any delays could cost him the day's bonus. As the hours passed, Marcus moved from one neighborhood to another, delivering coffee orders, lunches, and groceries to a myriad of faces, most of whom barely looked at him as they collected their packages. By mid-afternoon, exhaustion began to settle in. The heat from his car's malfunctioning air conditioner only worsened his growing headache, but Marcus pushed through. He had to. By the time his shift ended, the interaction with Elon felt like a distant memory. He returned to his apartment, carefully stepping around the clutter of medical equipment and bills scattered across the small living space. His mother, reclined on the worn-out couch, smiled weakly as he walked in. "Long day?" she asked, her voice soft but laced with concern. "Same as usual," Marcus replied, forcing a smile as he handed her a bottle of water. He didn't want her worrying more than she already did. She was his reason for working so hard, and the last thing he wanted was for her to feel like a burden. Later that evening, as Marcus collapsed into bed, he received a strange notification on his phone. "Your delivery route has been adjusted. New address added." Frowning, Marcus opened the app. It wasn't uncommon for late-night orders to pop up, but this one was odd. The address was the same as the estate he'd visited earlier that day, Elon Musk's home. Marcus hesitated. He'd already clocked out for the day, and his exhaustion was palpable. But something about the request piqued his curiosity. After a moment's deliberation, he sighed and grabbed his keys. If Elon Musk needed something, who was Marcus to decline? Besides, the extra pay wouldn't hurt. When Marcus arrived at the estate, it was even quieter than before. The gates opened automatically, and he drove up the winding driveway, parking in the same spot as earlier. This time, however, Elon didn't wait for Marcus to approach the door. He was already outside, standing near the garage with a cup of coffee in hand. "Back so soon?" Elon joked, his smile as relaxed as ever. "I guess so," Marcus replied, chuckling nervously. "What's the order this time?" "There is no order," Elon said, taking a sip of his coffee. "I just wanted to talk." Marcus blinked, unsure if he'd heard correctly. "You what?" "I know it's unusual," Elon admitted, setting his coffee down on a nearby table. "But I've been thinking about what you told me earlier. Your story stuck with me. People don't often realize how much effort it takes to do what you're doing, to keep going when the odds are against you. It's admirable." Marcus didn't know how to respond. His instinct was to shrug it off, to downplay his struggles as something anyone would do in his position. But Elon's earnest tone made him pause. "I appreciate that," Marcus said after a moment, "but I'm just doing what I have to." "And that," Elon said, pointing at Marcus, "is exactly why people like you inspire me." The conversation drifted into unexpected territory. Elon asked Marcus about his dreams, his passions, and what he wished he could do if he weren't weighed down by financial struggles. At first, Marcus was hesitant, unsure if the tech billionaire was simply making polite conversation. But as the minutes passed, he found himself opening up, sharing bits and pieces of his life that he hadn't told anyone outside his family. By the time the conversation ended, Marcus felt lighter, as if a weight he hadn't realized he was carrying had been lifted. Elon reached into his pocket and pulled out a small card. "Take this," he said, handing it to Marcus. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to call, and thank you for reminding me of the value of hard work and determination." Marcus accepted the card, though he doubted he'd ever use it. As he drove home that night, he couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen. Little did he know, Elon Musk was already planning a gesture that would change Marcus's life forever. The following days unfolded as routine for Marcus. His deliveries kept him busy, and his mother's condition continued to occupy his mind. The interaction with Elon Musk seemed like a fleeting moment of encouragement, something he appreciated but didn't dwell on. Life had taught Marcus not to get his hopes up. It was easier to keep expectations low and avoid disappointment. Then, one quiet afternoon, as Marcus was sorting his deliveries, his phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. Usually he ignored calls from unknown numbers, assuming they were spam, but something compelled him to pick up this one. "Hello?" Marcus said hesitantly. "Hi, is this Marcus?" The voice on the other end was calm but authoritative. "This is him. Who's calling?" Marcus asked. "This is Elon Musk's office," the voice replied. "Mr. Musk wanted to follow up with you. Are you available to meet at Tesla headquarters tomorrow?" Marcus froze, gripping the phone tightly. He'd assumed his interaction with Elon was over, just a rare moment of kindness that he'd remember fondly. Why would Elon Musk's office be calling him now? Yeah, I'm available," Marcus stammered. unsure if he was dreaming. "Great," the caller said. "We'll email you the details. Mr. Musk is looking forward to seeing you again." The call ended, leaving Marcus in a daze. His mind raced with possibilities, but he couldn't make sense of it. Why would Elon Musk, one of the busiest men in the world, want to meet him? That night, Marcus shared the news with his mother. She was just as surprised but encouraged him to go. "This could be something big," she said, her eyes gleaming with hope. "You never know what doors this could open." The next day, Marcus drove to Tesla headquarters, his nerves nearly getting the best of him. He adjusted his tie in the rearview mirror, feeling out of place in the corporate environment. The sleek, futuristic building loomed ahead, a testament to Elon Musk's innovation and success. Marcus took a deep breath and stepped inside. A receptionist greeted him and guided him to a conference room. As Marcus waited, he couldn't help but fidget, his anxiety growing with each passing minute. Finally, the door opened and Elon Musk walked in, dressed casually in a black t-shirt and jeans. "Marcus, good to see you again," Elon said, extending a hand. Good to see you too, Mr. Musk," Marcus replied, shaking his hand. "Please call me Elon," he said, sitting down across from Marcus. "I wanted to talk to you about something important." Elon began by recounting their first meeting, emphasizing how inspired he'd been by Marcus's story. He explained that he'd been thinking about ways to support people like Marcus, hardworking individuals who often go unnoticed despite their incredible perseverance. "I see potential in you, Marcus," Elon said, leaning forward. "You've got the drive and determination that makes a difference in this world. I want to help you pursue your dreams." Marcus was stunned. The billionaire's words felt surreal, like something out of a movie. Before he could fully process what was happening, Elon slid a folder across the table. "Inside is a scholarship fund," Elon explained. "It's enough to cover your mother's medical bills and provide you with the opportunity to further your education, start a business, or whatever you want to do. The only condition is that you pay it forward when you're in a position to help others." Marcus stared at the folder, his hands trembling. Tears welled up in his eyes as he looked at Elon, who smiled warmly. "I don't know what to say," Marcus choked out. This is life-changing." "You don't have to say anything," Elon replied. "Just promise me you'll make the most of it." The meeting ended with Marcus feeling a mix of disbelief and overwhelming gratitude. As he drove home, he couldn't help but replay the conversation in his mind. He was no longer just a delivery driver struggling to make ends meet. Thanks to Elon Musk, Marcus had a chance to rewrite his story, and he was determined not to waste it. News of Elon Musk's extraordinary gesture toward Marcus spread like wildfire. Social media lit up with stories of how a random act of kindness had turned into something life-changing. Posts celebrated both Marcus's determination and Elon's generosity, sparking conversations about the importance of lifting others up. But for Marcus, the attention was secondary. What mattered most was what the opportunity meant for his future and his mother's health. With Elon's financial help, Marcus was able to admit his mother to a top-tier medical facility where she began receiving the care she desperately needed. Watching her smile again, free from pain, filled Marcus with a joy he hadn't felt in years. However, Marcus wasn't content to stop there. As he sat at her bedside, he began sketching out plans for the dream he'd put on hold for so long: opening his own logistics company. For years, he'd thought about how deliveries could be more efficient, drivers better supported, and customers more satisfied. Now he had both the means and the motivation to make it happen. In the weeks that followed, Marcus threw himself into research and planning. He spent hours learning about business management, logistics software, and the intricacies of running a delivery service. Using part of the scholarship funds, he enrolled in online courses, eager to build the skills he needed. Elon stayed in touch, offering advice and connecting Marcus with mentors who could guide him. These connections proved invaluable, and before long, Marcus's fledgling business began to take shape. He named it Swift Path Logistics, a nod to the journey he'd traveled to get to this point. Marcus hired drivers who, like him, had been overlooked despite their hard work. Many of them were single parents, veterans, or individuals who'd struggled to find stable employment. His goal wasn't just to succeed in business, but to create opportunities for others, just as Elon had done for him. 6 months later, Swift Path Logistics officially opened its doors. Marcus held a modest ribbon-cutting ceremony outside his small but bustling office. Among the attendees were his family, a few friends, and the drivers who were now part of his team. To Marcus's surprise, Elon himself arrived, dressed casually and blending in with the crowd. "This is your moment," Elon told Marcus, shaking his hand. "You earned it." Tears pricked Marcus's eyes as he cut the ribbon, officially launching the business that once seemed like an impossible dream. The small crowd erupted in cheers, but Marcus's gaze settled on his mother, who clapped proudly from her wheelchair. Swift Path Logistics quickly gained a reputation for its reliability and dedication to customer service. Marcus's team took pride in their work, inspired by his story and leadership. The company grew steadily, and Marcus remained committed to his mission of giving back. He established a program to help employees further their education, just as Elon had done for him. True to his word, Marcus found ways to pay it forward. He partnered with local nonprofits to provide delivery services for food banks and medical supplies. He even started a mentorship program, guiding young entrepreneurs who faced challenges similar to his own. As the months passed, Marcus's story became an inspiration to countless others. Media outlets continued to cover his journey, highlighting how one act of kindness had set off a chain reaction of positive change. One evening, after a long day at work, Marcus received a call from Elon. "I've been keeping an eye on Swift Path," Elon said. "You're doing amazing work, Marcus. How would you feel about expanding your operations with a little help from Tesla?" Marcus was stunned. Expanding his business had always been a dream, but the idea of partnering with Tesla was beyond anything he'd imagined. "Of course," Marcus replied, his voice trembling with excitement. "I'd be honored." Over the following weeks, Tesla and Swift Path Logistics collaborated on a groundbreaking initiative, a fleet of electric delivery vehicles that would revolutionize the industry. The partnership further cemented Marcus's reputation as a visionary leader, and SwiftPath became a model for businesses that prioritized both success and social responsibility. As Marcus stood in his office one evening, overlooking the bustling activity of his growing company, he reflected on how far he'd come. None of it would have been possible without Elon Musk's generosity, or without the years of hard work and resilience that had prepared him to seize the opportunity. That night, he visited his mother, who was recovering beautifully thanks to her treatment. They talked, laughed, and shared memories of the journey they'd traveled together. "You've made me so proud, Marcus," she said, taking his hand. "And I know you're going to keep making a difference." Marcus smiled, his heart full. He knew she was right. The ripple effect of kindness had changed his life, and now he was determined to pass it on for years to come. Thanks so much for listening to the story. Let us know where you listened from, and be sure to subscribe for more stories. Have a blessed day.